Morning YouTube. Now in this video today I want to have a chat with you guys about a few different bits and bobs, so let's get on with it. Now the first one I want to talk about, I won't mention it too much because it's sort of something that we're all going through, and that is the weather. It is just absolutely atrocious. I've just started a job and I've just walked away. I'll come back and finish it another, either later on today if possible, or another day. And that's something I want to talk about, is flexibility with customers. Is I'm noticing at this point in time, because obviously it's been going on for so long, like we haven't really had a summer. July and August have been a washout. Customers, in their spare time, it's been affected, so they are trying to enjoy themselves, and the weather is knackering their plans up. The weather's also knackering the hardies up and the friends' hardies. So it's almost a bit like a COVID situation where everybody is sort of all in it together and they can all sort of relate. So I'm finding that actually turning up at people's houses and doing work in the rain, the vast majority of my customers are okay with it. They understand, they aren't okay. Some people are like, oh well, can't you do it another day? Well, I'll get on to them in a bit. But the vast majority of people sort of understand the weather, and they know that if it comes another day it's going to be raining, and probably next week it's going to be raining, so it gets done when it gets done. And like I said with this customer, I've just sort of walked away. It's one of them where it can be done, as and when sort of thing. So I've made a start on it. I'll just go back and finish it. And the weather, the rain's just bouncing down. It's just ridiculous. So I managed to avoid it a little bit this morning, because it was just bouncing down. It's one of them where you put your good waterproof on, and within 5 or 10 minutes that's going to be soaked through. So I'm not working in that. I don't mind working in spotting rain, but when it's like this, it's just ridiculous. We've had all week, we've had rain, and I've managed to get through it no problem. It's been a case of just getting stuck in. Now I've said this before to you guys, I believe in, personally, like one of my business mottos, or one of the things I try and do, is I will always do a little bit of work in the rain, or I always try and do something every day. So if it coincides that it's raining that day, I will do, try and do a little bit every day. I try and have a little bit of money coming in every day, and that's something I've always tried to do ever since I've been in business, because and then you've got money coming in every day. Even if it's going out and doing one £20 job, it's still something. So as I said, the vast majority of customers have been very understanding, even texting, asking how I've been going on. Because we've had so much rain, there has been a couple of jobs that I have, basically, there's one job so far, well, it's two, that I've had to knock on the head for a little bit, because it's just so rainy. It's just so wet, and the ground, unfortunately for this customer, his garden is a bit of a bog when it gets wet, but it never gets that bad until later on, near enough towards the end of the season. But just because we had so much rain, it's like he spoke to me today. He says, what's your plan for today? I says, Luke, I'll have to knock it on the head. I says, just have to wait till it dries up. He says, yeah, he says, that's fine with me, just, as long as I know. I says, yeah. And then obviously if it keeps on raining, because it's a weekly cut, you see, and it does grow, if it keeps on raining, I says, well, we'll put our heads together and we'll come up with a plan, even if I have to trim it. But the thing is, it's so boggy that, if you walk over your footprint twice, you're going to be leaving marks. But we'll sort it, we'll get on with it, we always do, and this is what I say to customers, we'll always get through and we'll always get it sorted. So, another thing I want to talk about is not being a martyr to the weather. You're in business, you're self-employed, we're here to make money, first and foremost. I know some customers don't understand that. I think they think it's a hobby and, you know, we're just doing a bit of beer money, but we aren't. We are here to make a good profit and a good living. I love my job, but I'll be honest with you, a couple of weeks ago when we were in the midst of this weather, you know, and it's still raining, I did have a little bit of a wobble where I actually thought to myself, this is the first time in 4 years I've ever had this feeling. I thought to myself, you know what, fuck this, I'd rather be in employment. And that was it. And I didn't look for jobs, you know, but actually a friend of mine's just got a new job, and it's quite an interesting job, and they're taking on it as a place of work. And part of me thought, would I like to, you know, work like, but I quickly sort of talked myself out of it. But what I mean by don't be a martyr to this job is you need to take time for yourself. At the end of the day, if you have to cancel work or put it off because of the weather, you know, you have to at the end of the day. Good customers will understand that. It's like today, it's pissing it down. I should have done 5 jobs today. Odds on I'm probably going to do 2 or 3 if I'm lucky. But the customers will understand that. If they don't, well, it sort of says what it is. There's nothing that I'm going to do today that can't keep. That's another thing as well. So, you know, don't flog yourself to death working in it. Because what will happen is you'll work, like weather like this, you'll work in it, your jacket will get sodden, you'll catch a cold, you know. I know it sounds like I'm mothering you here, but it's true. You know, you'll get a cold, you'll get run down, you'll get poorly, your kit doesn't like it. So like in my van, I feel sorry for the old girl. The back of it's quite damp, there's a lot of condensation. It's got that sort of musty smell that, you know, you pick up from as, you know, your vehicle sort of gets, you know, damp and cold. I've got one jacket here trying to dry, you know, and I've got another jacket, and it's just horrible. It's not fun working in it. So you do need to sort of prioritize and just, you know, put yourself first. So that's what I've been doing. I've been getting out more. So I've been, for the past couple of weekends, I've been visiting my friends in Sheffield. So, you know, we've been having good times, and, you know, it's like this morning, it was pissing down, so I went out Wetherspoons and, you know, grabbed a little bit of their famous, you know, in air quotes, bacon. I don't know what they do to the bacon to get it so it doesn't actually taste like bacon. It's quite an art form. So work for me is picking up now. My adverts have gone back in. This is another little thing I want to talk about is don't get lazy with advertising. Now I worked it out the other day. This is my 4th year of being in self-employed, or my 4th season, shall I say. It's my 4th season, but I think it's like 3.5 or a bit more than 3.5 years now I've been in business. Like when I chase it back, but it's my 4th season. Because, yeah, very complicated, it confuses me. And I'll be honest with you, I've always advertised. I've never said it, you know. I've never been the gardener where the phone's ringing off the hook. It's just never happened. And it's not even predictable. It's so unpredictable, but it's consistent. When I had my advertising on point, so when I had my little newspaper ad, I used to get a consistent amount of phone calls, whether that was all in 1 week and then nothing for the rest of the month, or two or 3 a week and then nothing for a week, and then 3 in 1 day. I'd always get a consistent amount of inquiries. But since well, I didn't take the advert down. The paper ended up just folding, no pun intended. It just went out of business. So I have been looking for a new advert, and I'll be honest with you, I got a little bit lazy. Now for me, I'm always, you know, quote booked up. I've always got quite a bit of work on, and another thing I seem to have a lot of is repeat work and regular work, and I have it with customers where they'll refer me, but as for new inquiries, that sort of, you know, slipped down a little bit. So I pulled my finger out and I've spent, you know, I've thrown money at the situation, and that's what you need to do sometimes. So I've had a advert put in this like local free paper. That was quite cheap. It was £50 an advert, so I've had the gardening and the exterior cleaning put in there. The good thing with that is I'm not going to have it put in regular, but it's one of them, because it's a free paper, people will pick it up and keep it. It's not delivered out as far as I know, or I think it is, but in some areas it's left, so you know, it's a conscious decision. And then the other paper, I've found another local paper, but the trouble with this one is it's a lot more money. It's like 3 times the cost. So for a month I was paying in my old paper about £120 a month with 2 adverts. This one for 2 adverts is £300, but there's more pros and cons. So with this new paper, there isn't as many gardeners in it for one, there isn't as many exterior cleaners for one, and probably because it's so expensive, but also it's getting me into new areas. So it's going into the Cheadle paper and the Leek paper. Leek, if you're not familiar, is a lot bigger town than where I am at the moment, so it'd be nice to sort of crack into that. And it's only about 20-25 minutes away. You know, it's not going to kill me driving there, especially if I can get exterior cleaning work there. It's going to be a bonus, if I'm being honest with you. And it's also, I've got an online presence apparently on their little online website. It always surprises me how many people still rely on newspapers. So somebody said to me, well, why don't you go down the digital, basically like Facebook ads, Bark, Nextdoor. Well, I downloaded Nextdoor, I can't fucking work it out. It's just, you know, I can't. It's like I've created a profile on the app, but I can only see my profile. I can't look. It says create an ad, but I can't see, you know, where that ad will go. You know, I can't work it out at all. And they keep emailing me over different stuff. This bird called Alice, no idea. So the other one's Bark. I don't want to be paying for leads. And then Facebook ads again, you know, it's, for me, Facebook's been such a double-edged sword in terms of advertising. Of all the emails and, you know, sort of traffic that comes through and all the sort of messages I get, I can honestly say, you know, it's not a great percent of actual useful leads. The majority of them, I've had quite a few people ringing up for rubbish collections, block paving being installed, hard landscaping, all of them that I don't advertise. I don't make any leads to advertising them. I think it's just chain messages where people have got something that needs doing, because it's all very vague, all very generic. Hi, I need a price for this, and there's a picture normally, you know, and I think it's just a chain. But I always message back polite, and I always message back saying, hi, this is a service that we don't do at the moment, maybe in the future if we do decide to add it, well, you know, just something like that. But it always surprises me how many people keep physical ads, and they like the physical media, and they aren't interested in Facebook, they like newspapers. I've had a couple of phone calls lately through people from, and I say, where did you get my advert from, or where did you get my number from? Oh, got it from a stunner. Well, that paper went under a couple of months ago, so they've kept the classifieds. So, you know, there is still a vast, well, not a vast market, but there's enough for me to carve out a living, shall I say, because that's where nearly all my work comes from, is either word of mouth or the local paper. So, other things that's been happening this month is, like I said at the start, with the weather, some customers have been very understanding. I've took on a regular grass cut, it isn't regular, took on a regular grass cut off this lady, and again, it always sort of surprises me, but this lady, she said about she wants a regular grass cut, and I says, yeah, that's no problem, I'll put you in for every 2 weeks. Oh, but I stopped paying for grass to be cut after September. I'm like, okay, so is your season normal until the end of September? Yeah, it just doesn't grow after then. I'm like, okay then. I says, well, for me, I keep cutting grass till, you know, October, November. Normally November now, especially while the seasons are changing. And she seemed very surprised at that, extremely surprised at that. you know, I says, well, I says, look, you're not signed into anything. I says, but the only thing is, it is a fortnightly cut. Oh, okay, yeah. And then, because, you know, getting the whole sort of Scooby, you know, Spidey sort of senses off it, I did make a point of saying to her that this price is for fortnightly, it's not for a monthly cut. Oh, okay. She again very surprised at that. And I can never understand, you know, it's like as if, you know, so you know what I'm saying. So she said about that, and then she said about she says, so I rung her up to book her in, and she says, well, I don't can you come when it's a nice day? I said, well, I says, this week it's all rain. I says, next week it's all rain, and the long reach forecast says it's rain's coming in. Oh, well, ideally I'd want you to, you know, when we've had a couple of nice days, and then I want you to come, you know, on a nice day after that. I says, well, unfortunately, I says, it's going to be as and when I can get it done, for one, and also if it is when there's availability, and it is that, you know, it's been raining the night before or even during that day, and it's you know, it's cleared up, I said, I'll come and cut it then. Oh, well, I'd rather you, and I just left her with it. I says that, you know, I can only do with what I can do at the moment. So that was sort of, you know, I'll be honest with you, part of me is tempted just to ring, you know, just to ring her up and say that I'm not able to provide, because, you know, it's just too much of an handful. So other things, other news is the jam has been done. It's down in the bottom of my footwell of my van. Hopefully I should get another load off them, hopefully. If you didn't know, every Christmas I will always try and give my customers a Christmas card and a pot of jam or a little something. If you're the mindset that, you know, customers are going off of me, you know, and, you know, that's probably not for you. But for me, it's been, you know, and I don't just do it all, you know, for giving away sake. It's been a very, very good, you know, way of drumming up winter work as well, because by you giving a Christmas card to a customer, you are basically having an excuse to go and look at their property, and, you know, so you're there and you notice things and they notice things, and because their gardener's sat on their drive, the things that they're noticing at the forefront. So there's been no end of times where I've went to drop a Christmas card off and the customers have said, look at all these leaves that's come, oh, it looks ever such a state. I've got a bit of time before Christmas, because I normally drop them off a couple of weeks before. Would you want me to just come and, you know, do a little bit of a tidy? Oh, well, oh, brilliant. So something for free can actually ended up, you know, drumming up a little bit of work. And that little bit of work, because, you know, they would have waited till the new season, well, suddenly that little bit of work is, you know, unlocked, you know, a little job for me, and that job easily pays for the Christmas card. And at the same time, the price of a Christmas card this year, a pot of jams cost me £1.30. The price of a card, you know, I think it works out 70p and a jam for £1.30. It's £2 a customer. It is literally nothing. You know, a customer who has you, you know, once every 2 weeks during the summertime doing a grass cut, even if it's a £20 lawn, you know, it's a few £100 that is over the season, and, you know, £2 out of that's nothing. So for me, the jam is something I enjoy doing. I like, you know, I'm not big on giving to charity, I'll be honest with you. I think most organised charities, I always think my donation is going to be used to buy a pack of post-it notes, you know, or like a work string for, you know, an exec. You know, that's just me being pessimistic. But I do try and help people out as much as I can, and especially anybody that's, you know, running a little cottage industry, you know, or like even like I'm a mill and coffee morning. You know, anybody that's willing to stand up and do something to help somebody, I try and support them as much as I can. So I've mentioned this before, but just in case. So the people who do a jam for me, it's like a little cottage industry, you know, amongst these group of WI members, predominantly OAPs, and basically they club together their time and, you know, their resources, and they'll make Christmas cards or like little gifts, pots of jam, and then they'll sell it at like little events or amongst themselves, and whatever money's generated goes to a good cause. So of course I always, because they make the jam, they say that because it's donation based, they can't afford to go out and buy the fruit. I offer to, and amongst my customers there's fruit trees, that I'll be honest with you, most of the fruit ends up on the ground, or the mower ends up having it. So I've done it for the past few years. I will offer and I'll go and pick the fruit myself. So it costs me a little bit of time, but I'll just put a podcast in and I'll be damson picking and plum picking. So this year, one tree, from I was telling the lady yesterday, this tree in this gardening customer's house, sorry, in the garden, it's not in the house, this one plum tree yielded up a bag for life equivalent portion of fruit, and this bag of fruit, this bag for life sized bag of fruit, has gone on to yield 27 jars of jam, which the WI members can sell. Now if I wanted to pick it, that fruit would have ended up on the floor, or the wasps would have had it, or the mower would have had it, so it's gone on to make 27 jars of jam. The jam is exquisite, and then all the money that's going to be raised off this jam, so I also picked him a big bag of damsons. Again, that's gone on to yield, I can't remember how many jars of jam she made off the damsons. I think that's still ongoing because I did give her a big bag. But basically the money from this year's fruit pick and the jam is going to, they said to me, and it's quite cute actually, because people, they don't do it for attention and Facebook, quite often people do things for charity, but Facebook, a bit of a, they don't do it for that. But she did, and she was ever so proud of it. She says, well, we've set a goal this year of £70. I said, oh, that's nice. And it's going to make, if your customers asked, it's going to make, so it's going to put in a toilet for somebody in a third world country. I said, that's brilliant. I said, it's just really nice stuff like that, and it's the least I can do. So yeah, the money that's made off it has gone to make a toilet in a third world country. They're happy and I'm happy. So it isn't all sort of ups and downs within sort of the gardening. I do try and see the good. And there's one more thing I want to mention. This video is predominantly, if you was to put it on a scale, and which side would the scale tip, whether it's a negative video or a positive video, it's probably been, it's been a little bit of moaning in this video. But the thing is, because the reason I'm saying it's, I had a I had a comment off a viewer the other day. And I can't find a comment, but I did comment back. This, mention it now, not many people will see it anyway, because I can imagine most people switch off. But it's not meant to sort of, be a sort of, nasty comment back at all. It's meant in a thingy. But the whole purpose of this channel is to show the realities of running a gardening business in the UK. And unfortunately, many weeks or some days, or not many days, depending on your business, there is going to be more ups than there is down. And this is the point of the channel. It's not necessarily to moan about, to sit here and have a moan, and it is sometimes, there is videos where it is, the purpose of the video is to sit and have a moan, but it's hopefully aimed at helping or sort of talking about things. So, because the chap commented saying that it's basically, it's a video of 20 minutes of negativity and all that, and well, technically it is, and technically it probably was. It was a video I put up where it was burnouts, bad customers, and I can't think of the one, burnouts, bad customers, and I can't remember. And I've not looked back at the video, but I said it's basically 20 minutes of negativity. And well, it is, but it's not something I'm going to apologise. At the end of the day, This is the reality of running a gardening business. It's not going to be sunshine, it's not going to be a million cups of tea, it's not going to be customers tipping you all the time and, you know, bowing down saying thank you. Unfortunately, you're going to have days like this. You're going to have weeks of rain, you know. So if it is that you're just starting out and you're thinking, you know, oh, you know, I'm being a bit of a miserable bugger, well, it's not meant like that. It's meant literally to show the realities of running a business in the UK. There is ups, there is downs, there is good days, there is bad days, but I can tell you this for a fact, there is more good days than there is bad days. I tend to talk a bit more about the negative side because I don't want this channel to be all positive, as much as it kills me, you know, not to be all positive, because I don't want people to watch this and think this is a snapshot. It isn't. It's you know, an average gardening business. There is ups and downs. I do try and keep it balanced, and even if I do moan about a negative subject, I'll always try and see the funny side in it, because honestly, trust me on this, if you don't, it'll drive you insane. So that's not me calling anybody out, you know. I don't believe in that. I can't even find a comment. I don't know what it is, but I don't know whether YouTube hides comments or they get taken down if you don't respond or something. I don't know, but as I said, I do try and respond to the comments. I do try, and if I don't respond, I'll always look at them. So as I said, this channel is, you know, a hodgepodge. It is a mix, and it is hopefully to show a sort of balanced look at the gardening world within the UK. So have a good day, guys. Keep on gardening.